let us just get directly into the topic. We have, Pak Sandy, over the last 2 days, discussed many of the challenges facing Indonesia generally, and of course facing Jakarta in particular. Chief among them, of course, is infrastructure, where we face, bottlenecks. Of course, Jakarta has become famous around the world for one of its main attractions, which is, if you don't experience it anywhere in the world, you can experience it in Jakarta, which is traffic.
Really?
Yeah. But beyond that, of course, I think what we mentioned earlier is really to provide hope and the right skills for our youth. How do we engage them? You have mentioned about the right jobs that we want to create, quality jobs. We want to move beyond underemployment in Indonesia, which today is a great challenge, where we have students coming out of universities but are not getting the right jobs. So maybe if you can just share with us, initially at least, some of your vision for 2045, which is where we are heading, 100 years of independence, and generally also your plans and your programs as Vice Governor.
Well, thank you, Pa Soeb, and it's a big honor for me to be invited at this very prestigious event. And this is my second time at the Indonesian Economic Forum. I attended the first one, and because I went into politics, you stopped inviting me again.
You were too busy.
But anyway, it's always fun to be associated and working with Pa Soeb over the years. Been a very long friend of mine. Also his co-creator, Pa Sachin Gopalan. Thank you, Sachin, for inviting. I have to acknowledge few names here to pretty much express our gratitude for your support. The CEO of campaign.com, Mr. William Gondokusumo, thank you so much. My old friend, CEO of HSBC, Bapak Samit Duta, thank you so much, Pak Samit. And Senior Chancellor of Monash University, Professor Zlatko, thank you so much for coming here. And this is up and coming. I've been hearing his name in the business community for quite some time now. I have a chance to sit across the table from him, CEO of Polax Properties, Mr. Nico Purnomo. So, and many familiar faces, Pa Eko, hi Pa Bayu. I've seen you on advertisement of toothpaste. And Sari, apa kabar? Sari and many other familiar faces here. And I see a lot of young guys here, a lot of the next generations of Jakartans, the next generations of Indonesians. When you talk about visions, and I've been sent an email from Pak Soeb about this Dare to Dream campaign. This is something along the line that the city government of Jakarta are really thinking hard. We at the City Hall are planning this city for the next up and coming challenge, the next 100 years after the 100 years of independence. So 2045, you would think that still a long way to go, another 27 years from now or 28 years. But you would not realize then it's already there, 2045. So you need to start planning. And at the City Hall, we're really planning on 3 key issues facing Jakartans now. I've been saying over and over again, I think the key issue, other than traffic, we'll get back to traffic later, but I didn't promise in my campaign to fix traffic, but I'll be working hard with Anis on fixing traffic and flooding. But the 3 key issues that we have put in our campaign pledge, and we really want to work with elements of our society. First would be jobs. I think what type of new quality jobs that we can create for the city. The numbers is staggering. As you know, unemployment is about 7%. But if you look at the people who claim that they're working, 300,000 of them earns less than 500,000 rupiah a month. 500,000 rupiah a month. It wouldn't buy you a lunch here at the Shangri-La. And if you double the amount to 1 million rupiah per month, actually there are 3 million Jakartans earning 1 million a month or less. So it's a huge, it's 1/3 of our populations. And we have about 10 million populations in the evening. In the morning it's about 12 million because people commute coming in here. And business is changing. We see the shift from the traditional economy to the new economy. So the city have to prepare itself, how to be resilient, how to be anticipative of this change, the swift change in the job market. How do we prepare our young generations to be competitive? How do we make sure that our young generations will focus on quality of jobs and also the qualities of firms, companies that will enable Indonesia to be competitive in the region. So it's something that we found during the campaign, about 18 months of campaign that I went through across Jakarta. I visited all 267 kelurahan, 44 kecamatan's. I went all the way to the Kepulauan Seribu and found that there's huge inequalities. Indonesia's having inequalities issues, but Jakarta is the capital of inequalities in not only in Indonesia but also in the region. Gini coefficient ratio is nearing 0.41. So I think we want to address the root of the issues, which is the job. And we want to work. We are now moving into City 4.0. So it's no longer city as a producers and people as a consumer, but we are co-creators. The people are co-creating the city together with the government. We want to make sure we work with business society. We want to work with academia. We want to work with community leaders. We want to work with the young generations and how we could create a conducive climate to create jobs in the technology, digital world. You know, you see a lot of shift from, I think the retail market is shifting. A lot of people are being displaced from their jobs. How we do retrain them so that they're ready to be a programmer. They can do coding and they could participate in this new economy. Second is education, Pak Soeb. Come to think of it, only 6 out of 10 kids in North Jakarta and West Jakarta finish their high school. That's not even 3 kilometers from my office. That's even less than 2 kilometers from this very sort of like luxurious enclave in North Jakarta. So it's a big problem for us. And when you lose that generations not being able to finish, not college, but high school, you basically breed poverty. You basically breed inequality. You basically breed radicalism. You're basically going to create, a fertile ground for people to start hating each other. We talk about unity post-elections in the city. The core issues is about, first is about jobs, second is about education. So that's another areas that we want to tackle in 2045. And the third, final ones that we think we want to work with is how to make the city affordable. So I mentioned housing. how to make housing more affordable here in Jakarta. Young generations may not be able to afford housing if the price of housing continue to rise. How we could make transport, mass transportations, and this is how to address the traffic, accessible and also affordable. We have programs to be able to accelerate in terms of making people shift from using their own cars or their own motorcycles to taking the public transport. So how to make it affordable. 30% of their income, of average Jakarta incomes, goes to transportations. That's just not going to be sustainable in the long run. We want to fix price of water. Bottom of the pyramid of people who are earning less than $2 or $3 a day in Jakarta pay 20,000 rupiah as a family per day to provide clean water. That's about 600,000 rupiah per month. You compare that to a middle income family that spend 120,000 rupiah a month. So there's a big discrepancies. It's a huge gap between why people at the bottom of the pyramid pays more for clean water than people who are more well-to-do like us here. So those are the big things, and I really dream big for Jakarta and for Indonesia, and I think we are ready. The young generation is optimistic, very vibrant, upbeat. Well, of course, there's some social media detractors. Fine, you need those anyway also to motivate you and to make sure it's interesting. But I believe we, as a part of this 2045 Dare to Dream, would want to take the challenge and really dream big together to create a much better Indonesia going forward.
Thank you very much. I think we can say quite unequivocally that those are great dreams. I think the programs are there. The issues that you have addressed are critical to Jakarta. Inequality is actually a global problem now. You know the 1% versus the 99% across the world. You've seen how it has bred divisiveness, even in Western developed economies. We cannot afford to have that grow in Indonesia. So inequality is going to be critical. One of the key issues, of course, as you rightly mentioned, is public housing. Public housing has become, I guess, almost, intractable problem because of land issues, because of, the way Jakarta is built and designed. And of course, there was a lot of interest in your programs for public housing. Maybe if you could share with us a little bit, Pak Sandy, about that program.
The public housing is basically our idea, our program to create a policy that helps reduce the number of backlogs. There are about 350,000 backlogs of housing requests by middle to lower income family. We could not catch up because the number continued to grow, and the ability of the government to produce affordable housing is limited. You mentioned land, you mentioned budget, and so on and so forth. So only the housing ownership ratio in Indonesia is 49. In Jakarta is 49%. So only 49% of our populations own their respective place to live. 51%, if you don't own their own houses. If you compare to Singapore, I think Singapore is a champion here in terms of percentage of ownership. I think it's above 70%. So we need to, when you dream very high, because if you land somewhere, it should be somewhere along the way of your dream. So we want to dream to get to up to 70-80% of housing ownership. And the way to do it is an affordable housing program. So in Singapore, you have Housing Development Board. Here we are creating a program to allow young Indonesians, young Jakartans with a KTP Jakarta, with a Jakarta ID card, to own a house. It's mostly vertical housing. So the very first one was launched 2 days ago in my office. It's going to be somewhere in East Jakarta. The price of, and this is Pak Nico would know the math here, and I need to learn from him. I think the price would be somewhere between 350 to 400, Pak Nico. It will be zero down payment. It will be funded by combinations of central government and provincial government funding. It will have pretty much target market of people earning between 7 million-ish a month, never owned a house before. So this is something that the government is preparing itself. So the team is working hard now to create the equivalent of, we call it BLUD, Badan Layanan Umum Daerah, which is equivalent to Housing Development Board, whereby they would administer the buy and sell applications for our program of affordable housing. We are also opening for a truly private initiative. So there are a lot of initiatives also from private sectors to join the program. And we would give them incentive in terms of plot ratio, in terms of permits and maybe zoning if it caters to the bottom of the pyramid affordable housing program. So it's a small baby step, Soab. We welcome inputs, criticism. We got tons of them. We got bullies in the social media, and we love them. Bully us, please, because whenever people bully you, you feel much stronger. You know, it actually motivates you to work harder. Anis and I are no longer actually distracted, because our mandate is from the people of Jakarta to create a program to help average Jakartans, average people of Jakarta. And we think we really need help from every elements of the society, and one of which is the housing program. So I'm very excited. We just launched a couple of days, the first one. It's launched by a provincially owned company, BUMD, called Sarana Jaya. And they are actually going to focus as one of our locomotive to build this affordable housing. And then we are trying this new concept of transit-oriented development, TOD. There will be MRT stations. There are going to be LRT stations. There will be also Transjakarta stations across the cities. We're now incentivizing the property sectors to build around the stations, and not just to build housing around the stations. We have a word for that, which is RSS, which is Rumah Susun Samping Stasiun. So it's not RSSS, but it's transit-oriented development. If you need more information about transit-oriented development, you can ask Pak Nico. He's the expert. But it is basically mixed use. It will have the education element. It will have the commercial element, properties for the middle income families, or even on the upper side as well. But 30% will be dedicated to lower income groups. And we also need to build office space there, so it's going to be mixed use. How do we incentivize? We can give a much better zoning and plot ratio that is attractive enough for property companies to build in and around the station. So we integrate the mode of transport, so people are now don't have any more reasons to bring to Shangri-La their own cars, because they could take the train to Dukuh Atas and take a walk. So it will be all integrated.
That is very good to hear. Can we take some questions from the
Sure,
floor?
sure.
Are there any questions from the floor for the Vice? Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Gian. I'm from Womencipate Indonesia, representing a youth organization. We're concerned with the issue of modern slavery, how we can actually make supply chain more transparent so that no workers are,
Exploited.
yeah, exactly. That's the word. So my question is, nowadays we see that youth are, doing lots of good things in the society, and also lots of them likes, of course, shopping. Like it's a quarter of population in Indonesia, and we have a very large market in Indonesia. But now the concern of the youth, mostly, especially my friends around me, are how good a quality of a product is. Like how prestigious, how kekinian, kids zaman now, all they care is those shiny stuff and stuff. But not many of them really concerned about what happens in the supply chain, what happens with the workers who work through their sweat to make some products for us. It happens in many other aspects as well, and I don't know, palm oil or anything, or even sweatshops for clothes. And so my question is, so far, as you see as a businessman or as a vice governor, or also for you, sir, is how is the development of a supply chain transparency in Indonesia, and how much the private sector and the government work together to make it better, if to trace any kinds of modern slavery indications among the workers, whether they get, because recently we have this case when, I don't want to say the brand name, but there's this ice cream factory that a lot of people really likes it because it's only like 3,000 rupiah or 4,000 rupiah, but apparently it goes viral because people knows that these workers work without any health insurance, without like long hours, etc. So very worrying conditions.
Is the brand start with A?
So I won't. Yeah, probably A to Z. Lots of possibilities. So I see that you have concern that as well.
Okay.
So that's my question actually.
Okay.
How can we act upon it? Sorry. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great questions, and thank you for the questions. We are embracing open government, whereby we're going to completely make it very transparent and very open in terms of policies, in terms of data that we have. We have Jakarta Smart City. I think it's a great initiative from previous administrations, and we're going to capitalize on Jakarta Smart City and use it as a platform for people to share data. So if you have information on supply chain that raise some concerns, it will be, put within the system of Jakarta Smart City to be shared with the entire private sectors and also academia. We have Pak Dekan here. Apa kabar, Pak? From great University of Gadjah Mada. And we're going to use that platform. So we're very ready. There is we call it Kadis Nakar, which is our equivalent of the manpower ministry within the province. We deal with training some of the people who were exploited before. We provide safe house. And, there is a sad event, actually not in Jakarta, but not too far from Jakarta, whereby a fireworks factory was torched and or sort of like burned down, and it took close to 60 people alive. Workers' conditions is a huge issue. In fact, after this sessions, I'm being asked to see representative from the union to talk about keselamatan kerja, work safety. So this is also along the line of where your concern would be. Can the government work alone? Definitely cannot. Can the government work together with private sector? Yes, but it's not enough, because we need civil society, like you and the rest of the group here to help monitor and ensure that we're going to be able to deliver. Our mottos is changing now. I was criticized in one of the events. Their RT RW across Jakarta Barat asked me a few questions, actually asked the government a few questions. And I'm letting my mayor, my vice mayor to answer, because I'm embracing a super team concept. It's no longer Superman. Anis and I cannot just be the two of us fixing every single one of Jakarta problem. It has to be super team. So here I'm recruiting the entire of this room to help the city, in particular in your case on the supply chain and making sure that we are creating good quality jobs, new jobs that basically tie into the new economy, and also to make sure that they're being well treated and they're going to be afforded the best care for the workers.
Thank you. I've been informed that time is a bit tight.
Really?
So,
Can I take one more question?
sure, yeah. We're going to take a couple, hopefully one or two more questions. Okay, so Selvi, I have to give you one question.
So thank you. My name is Selfie.
Hi, Selfie.
Hi.
We just took a selfie just now.
Oh yeah. So I'm from Monash Indonesia Representative Office. So I came here with my other colleagues from Melbourne. So actually my question is about the commitment from Pak Sandi and also Pak Anies to develop the education access in Jakarta. So my question is, what's your strategic plan in providing equal education to all Jakarta children, kids, from the underprivileged students? So, the privileged kids can get a better education through the international high school, etc. But how about the underprivileged kids? I know that one of the program is to providing the Kartu Jakarta Pintar, but what does it mean? Does it mean that it will provide a good quality education or only from the quantity side? So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you,
you.
Selfie. Can I take one more question?
Yeah, maybe we take one more question, and then Pak Sandi can answer. Okay, the gentleman there. But your table already got one question, sorry. I'll go to the back. We have to be fair. There are two ladies there. Decide which one want to ask. I can't. Fair. Ladies?
Let them sue it.
Let them sue. Let them.
Thank you. Because I'm Indonesian, I use bahasa Indonesia.
Of
Yang
course.
terhormat,
Yeah.
yang terhormat Bapak Sandiaga Uno. Pertanyaan saya simpel aja Pak, bagaimana atau apa kita boleh tahu nggak impian Bapak untuk kampanye Dare to Dream ini apa sih Pak? Itu aja. Terima kasih.
Wah, boleh pakai bahasa Indonesia ya? Capek pakai bahasa Inggris ya. But I was asked by Pak Soeb to use English and practice my English. So thank you Bu Selfie, and I didn't get your name.
Intan Pak dari
Intan.
Indoritgram. Terima kasih.
Mbak Intan, I think I will want to answer Mbak Selfie first. This is something why people ask. I'm gonna reveal this in this room. People ask about a year ago, around September time frame. I was nominated as governor as a candidate nominated by my party as a governor. Within the last 12 hours of the registrations, I basically make the initiative, lobby Pak Anies to basically for him to consider to join the ticket. A lot of people ask and speculations, and I have not been, some my answers, but basically a lot of people still have questions about that. And one of the key answer is precisely what Mbak Selfie asked. During my big data, and this is not not secret, but actually available throughout Jakarta. And I'm using big data analytics as one of our campaign tools. So the one that is ranking very high, other than jobs, is education. So majority of Jakartans, despite their, what's being talked about is traffics, jam everywhere. 67 of Jakartans live less than 15 minutes from where they work. Actually, 27 to 32% actually live in the place they work. So traffic is not, it's a big issue for some of us who are in this room, but for majority of Jakartans, it's not a big issue. So what are the big issues? It's education. People I shared the number already in West Jakarta and North Jakarta. If you go north another 40 minutes, you land in Thousand Islands. That's even more sad, whereby only 4 out of 10 kids in Kepulauan Seribu finish high school. So is KJP, which is a great program from the previous government, from Pak Fauzi Bowo, it was called BOS before, BOS, and then during Pak Jokowi, it became KJP. Is it a one solution fix all type of thing? Is it a cookie cutter? No. Definitely KJP, Kartu Jakarta Pintar, is only one tools that we could improve the access. In fact, we are creating a new program called KJP Plus. So it's taking the program, the successful program by Pak Jokowi, Pak Basuki, and Pak Jarot into another stage. And we add a few features, additional features to improve access. Now, how about the quality? I think the quality relies and going to be solely the majority of it. Dominant factor would be the ability and the credibility as well as the quality of the teachers. We mentioned about infrastructures, building new schools, fine. But I think the focus would be on teachers. How to get the welfare of the teachers, how to get the right training of the teachers, how to make them really be trained and make them competitive, not just within Indonesia, but maybe within ASEAN, because Jakarta is also capital of ASEAN. So that's pretty much some of the interventions that we're taking. We're very happy to work with Monash if you have some great ideas, because we are creating in terms of monitoring and evaluations of our programs, an open system whereby we will work with, I guess, people from across organizations to make sure we deliver an improved and better educations. Jawaban untuk Mbak Intan, 2045. 2045 itu Jakarta akan menjadi ibu kota dari ekonomi nomor 5 terbesar di dunia. Jakarta, mimpi saya menjadi kota yang sangat-sangat modern, tapi tetap memiliki kekentalan terhadap adat istiadat dan gotong royong yang ada di dalam masyarakat kita. Kita melihat infrastruktur kelas dunia ada di Jakarta tahun 2045. Di tahun 2045 juga mungkin sudah MRT itu tergantikan dengan mobil-mobil atau kendaraan yang bisa terbang. Mungkin Jakarta sudah punya 2 atau 3 hyperloop system. Mungkin juga di Jakarta rumah sakit-rumah-sakitnya sudah bisa mengalahkan kecanggihan dari rumah sakit di Singapura, sehingga orang-orang dari Jakarta tidak perlu ke Singapura untuk ngecek darah tingginya. Saya juga bermimpi di Jakarta akan tercipta bukan hanya jenis pekerjaan yang baik, tapi tidak perlu lagi ada TKW dan TKI dari Indonesia yang pergi ke luar negeri. malah saking bertambahnya dan saking berkembangnya Jakarta, justru kita yang impor TKW dari luar Indonesia untuk masuk ke Jakarta. Saya bermimpi bahwa generasi muda kita sudah sangat-sangat maju, menjadi champion bukan hanya di Indonesia tapi juga di ASEAN. Saya berharap juga bahwa di 2045 Sekretaris Jenderal dari PBB sudah ada orang Indonesia. Dan alhamdulillah kalau misalnya dia datang dari Jakarta. Saya bermimpi juga ada 2 pemenang Nobel Prize dari Indonesia. Alangkah baiknya kalau 1 juga dari Jakarta. Jadi itu mimpi-mimpi saya. Saya berharap ini bukan hanya sebagai seperti pipe dreams, tapi mimpi-mimpi yang bisa diwujudkan. Saya bermimpi juga ada perusahaan yang berbasis di Jakarta paling enggak 10 sampai 15 masuk Fortune 500. Itu saya berharap, dan untuk orang-orang yang tersukses di dunia, saya berharap mungkin 2 atau 3 orang dari Jakarta dan dari Indonesia bisa masuk ke richest top 50 in the world. So that's a dream. I hope we all share the same dream. I hope there will be no poverty di Jakarta by 2045. It's a dream that all of us needs to share and work hard to realize it.
Thank you very much, Pak Sandy.